Hello, let's do some solving of polynomials by factoring. And I'm going to do just a quick run through of these examples. If you need a little bit more detail on the factoring, we started the semester off with that. So back in Unit 1, you'll find some videos with full detail about the factoring I'm about to show you here. All right. Remember, the degree of the polynomial tells us how many zeros and how many linear factors there will be. So if you pause at the end, you might go, wait a minute, I got too few or too many. All right, this one's already set equal to 0, so we'll just proceed with the factor by grouping. And after I factored out the first pair, I noticed that I got nothing to factor out, but I need to factor out a 1, and I did that as a visual and placeholder so I'll know what to do in the next step, which is finish the factoring off like that. Alrighty, and then set each factor equal to 0, solve that. Remember, plus or minus square root, and when you do the square root of that negative, that's the I. Also, I think Unit 1 way back. Next factor, do the same thing. And we've got zeros, just make a list of those answers. Factored form, I put the quadratic and the single linear as a factored form, perfectly fine. And then if it did say completely factored or write as linear factors, you can see what I've done there. Now do pay attention to the leading coefficient, and depending on how you use the linear factors, you've got to account for that leading coefficient. I've shown two different options right there. All right, next example, also factor by grouping. So I went ahead and did that first step there, and then finish it off by putting the factors together. Set each factor equal to 0 and solve that. We don't have any imaginary stuff in this one. Make a list of the zeros, easy peasy, factored form. I've got a quadratic and linear like before, and then completely factored. Again, pay attention to that leading coefficient. It's either with that linear factor, 4x minus 1, or I use the root form, and I got to put a 4 way out in front like that. All right, the next two are variations on other kind of factoring. And if it's not already set equal to 0, go ahead and do that. This one I notice all the terms are even and all the terms have an x. So I can start by factoring out that. And then now inside the parentheses, I'm going to do the x method, but I'm going to jump to the end. So if you don't know what that is, go back and review in Unit 1. Like that. So X method sets it up factor by grouping, just like we did the last two examples, which is why I like the X method. And then finish that grouping off. Set each factor equal to 0. Solve for each factor like that. And make a list of the zeros. There we go. We had a degree 5, so make sure you did get 5 zeros. Factor form, again, I just left it with those initial quadratics and the single linear. Completely factored, full linear factor like that. Again, pay attention to where you're going to put that leading coefficient. Next example. Again, set equal to 0. Always start off that way. Now, I did not notice that each of these terms has a factor of 3 in common. If you factor out a 3, then the next step after that is going to be a little bit easier, but I just dove in. I didn't see factor by 3. I just saw quadratic, crazy numbers, X method. So factor by grouping, then paired it up like that, and continue just like we've done before. We get some imaginary off that first one, and then just regular square root off the second one. Make a list of the zeros. Factor form, I just kept the quadratics, that's fine. Completely factored is always linear, or it might say linear factor specifically like that. Now, I think we're done.